Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Mormons. I am your host, Cardinellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L, Brad Whitbeck, Jacob Hansen, and Brittany the Shadow. And we are going to put to bed, to its final resting place, the argument to wear or not to wear the crucifix has come up in conversation a couple of times. Who wants to take this one? Go.
I'll start.
You'll start?
Yeah.
Braderico.
What else do you know that's going to keep away a vampire and not smell really bad? I rest my case.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, Brittany, you're an aficionado of the sideways cross, the long cross.
Yeah.
What's
sporting my long cross right now.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I love wearing cross necklaces. I think anything to remind you of Jesus and his love and sacrifice for you, why not?
Then wouldn't you have a Garden of Gethsemane medallion instead of a cross that he was killed on?
No,
you'd rather have the place
thou
he was
sinning concubine.
What's a better representation of perfect love than that Jesus died for you?
Okay, so Jacob and Kwaku, you guys go. You haven't opined yet.
So for me, I have no problem when people wear crosses. I don't, just because to me it's more a symbol of kind of like the church. It's the symbol of his death, and we want to focus on his life. Like, I think that's a legit argument. Again, though, but I don't have a problem when people do.
Gordon B. Hinckley said not to, and we've had all kinds of like cultural lessons not to, and we're always on the show trying to sift through what's doctrinal, what's cultural, what's policy, what's reality, so on and so forth.
Pick your battles, honestly.
That's kind of my thing. Like,
guys, this was as close as Gordon B. Hinckley could come to saying what Kwaku says about the Catholic Church all the time. And so that's what he left it at.
Okay, so Kwaku, I have a feeling like you feel like you're waiting in the wings in this argument. So
I just find it interesting that Brittany said pick your battles, because Jesus wishes that he could have when they murdered him on that Roman pagan torture weapon that we call the cross. You know, I think that nobody should wear a cross, especially not Latter-day Saints. I think it's an evil symbol. I think it represents the death of our God when the idolatrous, monstrous, demonic pagans killed him. And I don't think he wants to see a bunch of crosses when he comes back. It's like going to a Martin Luther King memorial and wearing a bullet shell around my neck. It's not very good now, is it?
No.
I don't like the cross.
Okay, I'm going to push back on that hard, because here's the thing. A lot of early Christianity was about irony, okay? So the early Christians called Jesus the Son of God because Caesar was known as the Son of God. And so it was scandalous for the Christians to be saying that Jesus Christ was the true Son of God. And then you take the symbol of his torture and you turn it into this symbol of love and of sacrifice and of glory out of their torture device. So it was almost like the early Christians were like shoving it in the faces of the Romans to say, you guys thought you could kill him, but he rose again, and we're wearing this as the symbol of their defeat.
So you're making the Chris Rock N-word argument when he was approached on primetime TV saying, why do you drop the N-word so much, so on and so forth? And he made the irony argument saying, we've co-opted it to make it a cool thing and a hip thing, and, you know.
And reclaimed it to take away the power of it from other people, right?
Okay, which was to a certain extent what we did with Mormon. It was a pejorative from the 19th century that all of a sudden we made a campaign out of, you know what I'm saying? Like, IamAMormon.com, so on and so forth. But we got Kwaku here, who's got a reverse jihad against the symbology.
Look, Jacob, I think that would hold weight if we were living in, 1700 years ago. But you know what? Caesar's dead, and Rome fell.
Yeah.
And nobody's getting crucified anymore.
Quick, you actually believe that? You think Caesar's dead?
I think he is dead.
Well, okay, fine.
He can't really die because he's half serpent.
Okay.
I actually,
there it is.
I'm gonna grant Kwaku something on that. I actually think that that's fairly valid. The context of a symbol can change, and especially that the cross has to some extent been perverted in history through the apostate actions of people that did not do what Christ would have wanted while carrying the cross. There's a certain
going
level
into pillage and destroy while holding a cross in one hand and a sword in the other.
And and a cross-shaped sword, right?
Oh, yeah.
to do it for a lot of that.
Yeah.
The sword was a symbol that they would use. Like knights would hold their sword like a cross because it had the cross guard on it.
Yeah,
As they took back the Holy Land.
I am just not a fan of. I will not wear a cross necklace.
Now-
I don't think Jesus wants to see crosses when he comes back.
I will
Well,
give
do
you
you
this.
think it gets into the point of? I do have this question. Do you think it gets into the point of being an actual negative or a misguided nothing burger? Like, do you think
Well,
it
it's
actually is
awkward
like
'cause
I look down upon it?
Well,
you know,
I hear it's a little awkward because your wife is currently wearing a cross necklace, so I hate
Yeah,
to sound like a bully,
well-
but I do think it's a negative. I
Do you know who else's wife wore a cross necklace, Kwaku?
Brigham Young's?
Yeah,
Which
bring
one?
up the picture.
Which wife?
Oh snap! I forgot about that.
Bring up the
You're
picture.
right. Brigham Young's
Like
wife.
she's the authority. I don't even know her name. It's like this is Susanette B. McCullough. I don't know who that is. I don't know. I don't care.
But
she's wrong too.
I believe
She's
I don't
also
wanna-
wearing a cross, and so I think this takes a couple of the teeth out of your argument. That
doesn't.
Obviously, this is a
It's a
bad, horrible
daguerreotype
thing.
of a woman I'll never see. I don't care. I don't care. I think she shouldn't wear one
Plot
either.
twist, that's actually me and I'm reincarnated.
This is Brittany's
Snap.
second multiple mortal
Because
probation.
here's the thing, I think that there is a little bit of weight to the things that you're saying here, especially because like when I was on my mission, I was reading the Book of Revelation on Wednesday, and I was looking at the part where it talked about how people would be marked in their foreheads with the mark of the beast, right? And I had just read that, and then I went outside, and it was Ash Wednesday, and all of these Catholics were walking around with like a gray ash cross on their foreheads, and I was like, oh shoot, is this what it means? And I like figured out later, like, yeah, no, that's not what it means, but like it like hit me really hard for a minute there that like, oh, maybe I should like avoid that symbol as much as I can, you know?
So first of all, I actually love to see the people coming with the cross on their forehead, because in today's secular world, if somebody's going to a Catholic church,
It's a believer.
I'm like, hey, you're a believer.
And a
Oh no,
loud
I
and
totally
proud
agree.
one.
I totally agree.
and willing to wear that symbol out there, unless you're Nancy Pelosi, then I have some issues with it. But
She's a sweet old lady.
so, but this is my thing. So I went to Catholic schools growing up, and I am a huge believer in interfaith work. I actually was a leader on a Catholic religious retreat in high school where we were given crosses as part of like being one of the leaders, and then afterwards I wore it proudly. I didn't have any problem with that because the symbol in that instance was being used for something beautiful and something good. Right? So again, the context of the symbol, I think, matters a lot.
Okay.
Yes, I just don't. I said my piece. I said my piece.
We're gonna see if Kwaku is the most righteous among us. 'Cause after all, isn't that the purpose of religion anyway? Using it as a type and shadow of our judgment of others. But no, I'm totally just kidding. So I don't know how this wasn't the first thing that came to mind for you guys as fellow millennials and Zoomers, but Gordon B. Hinckley. Okay, famously here we've got the questions and answers section on the actual website of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I remember this talk when it was given the first time around, so we'll just really quickly just go over these only 3 or 4 sentences. But he was asked, I have a friend who is a member of another religion and who asked me why we don't wear crosses or have crosses on our buildings. Why don't we? And this was in the new era. So this is what Gordon B. Hinckley said. He said, we do not use the cross as a symbol on our chapels, temples, or on our scriptures or in jewelry. President Gordon B. Hinckley explained the reason in a talk delivered at General Conference. He told a Protestant member following an open house when asked why we don't wear crosses. He said, I do not wish to give offense to any of my brethren who use the cross on steeples or cathedrals and at altars in their chapels, who wear it on the vestments or imprinted on their books and literature. But for us, the cross is a symbol of the dying Christ. So there's Kwaku. You know, and he says, while our message is a declaration of the living Christ, then he was asked very intelligently, if you do not use the cross, what is the symbol of your religion? And this I thought was very interesting. He said, I replied that the lives of our people must become the only meaningful expression of our faith, and in fact, therefore, the symbol of our worship. So that's kind of like that whole thou shalt have no other gods before me, or a very overlooked by Christians but not overlooked by Muslims, practicing Muslims.
Yeah.
This idea that you should have no graven images.
Yeah.
You know, and
I like that because the thing that this brings to mind for me is this kind of tones down any sort of tribalism between different sects of Christianity anyway. Because if we're trying to make the symbol of our faith the way that we live, and we're trying to make that as we show by our love to one another, that's how we show we're true disciples of Christ, that kind of eliminates whether we have a cross or a Jesus fish or whatever other symbol of Christ we could be having on us.
White shirt and tie?
Yeah. But not to be the guy who blows holes in this, but Nelson gave us a symbol. Like, we have a logo
Christus,
now.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, kind of...
The resurrected Christ. No. But I think that that's actually a really, really good thing. It's not like...
Because it's the actual deity itself.
Yeah. And it's not something that we have on, like... we're not going to have that on our shirt, right?
I will not just disagree with the prophet.
It's
I'm
not
going to
say,
did he have to make it a literal graven image? Like he literally had to make it a graven. Like, come on, no. Like,
well, we are all about the symbols in the church. I mean, if you go to the Salt Lake Temple and just walk around, and there's just symbols all over the place. So it's not like we're not big on on symbols. Symbology, I was going to say.
Symbolism.
just bad symbols like the cross. So good symbols like the seal of Melchizedek and on those, wonderful, but the Roman torture weapons that they killed our Lord and saints on are not.
I think it's something to be said too, just to differentiate us from classical theists and classical theistic Christianity.
To actually say we've committed to something instead of this wishy-washy middle ground.
Well, to say that we're something different. We're not just another, we're not just, okay, we got the Lutherans, and you got the Baptists, and then you got the Presbyterians, and then you got the Mormons. It's like, no, like, we're a whole new deal. We've rejected the core idea of the type of theology that they have. And they say we're not Christians, and depending on how you define it, I kind of agree with them. Like, yeah, if they're saying that to be a Christian, you must believe in the triune God of the Athanasian Creed.
Yep. Nope.
Nope. That ain't us, guys. Like, sorry. And that, I do believe that the cross does represent what you might call kind of classical Christendom, which I have immense respect and love for. The just war in the Holy Land. And I have, and I say this as someone who loves and hopes that they actually further their own. I like it when people get baptized into the Catholic Church that are atheists or into other things. I think they're moving closer to the truth. But I do think that we do want to distinguish that we are not classical theists. We are not. When there is a very deep line between us and Catholics and Protestants.
I did this one dialogue with a pastor on some guy's YouTube show, and he was talking about everything I was saying. He was like, well, that's just not what traditional Christianity teaches. And I kept having to say, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
We're not like you. Yeah. I don't want to be like you. We're not like, that's the whole point. And they're all so together in so many of these things, they can't fathom the fact that we're like, yeah, our religion is a response because we think you're wrong about all those things. So I just, want to use their symbol.
But I'm a little bit cautious, though, too, with I want to create...
I don't think we are a response as much as a revelation from God. Response insinuates bottom up from man towards the heavens. So. Whereas...
God was responding to the chaos of...
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
Of that. But I would say that I'm always a little bit cautious because I'm a big fan of interfaith work, and I have tons of close friendships and a deep respect for people who take their faith seriously that are other Christians. And so, especially in today's secular world,
I agree with you.
We got to be helping each other out, and we got to quit bickering amongst ourselves because there's a lot bigger fish to fry that are killing both of our churches.
Well, I agree.
Fish.
I think all of us agree that this is super low on the totem pole.
No, yeah. This is not a big thing. No, I totally agree.
No, I will die on this hill. No, I shouldn't
like
say that on this conversation. Oops. I guess I shouldn't wear a cross.
Well, I would say that
that is the most Christ-like.
A lot of Christians are kind of moving away from the whole Mormons are bad thing. I'm noticing there is a shift, and so we would be like remember, we would be buddy with them had they not bullied us for 200 years. It's like you hate us. We've only been nice. And like only in the past 5 years have we started fighting a little bit, like on comment threads and YouTube videos. Like you guys burned our houses down. Do you remember?
Yeah,
like
you literally murdered our leadership for about 50 years straight.
So it's like,
You know,
yeah,
so it's like-
we went to our own desert, built our own thing. We're like, we don't need you, and now you're like, you're not like us. We're not like you. What are you gonna do about it? Like, okay, I guess
And our
we're
symbol back
friends,
then,
like-
by the way, the beehive. Industry, homies.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, and I'm gonna put this on some of our first midnight strike through Mormons hats because we don't call ourselves Mormons anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the original first reference to the fish markets, that was the first graffiti used to identify the underground churches of Christians in the 2nd century AD. Anno Domini, none of this CEBS that all of you secularists
Amen.
Yeah.
Preach
try
it.
and
The
try
common
and
era,
throw
you know,
out.
the one that started
So-
with the
BC,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
BC and AD. That's I go by
Yeah.
BC and AD.
The thing we don't talk
so
about.
basically, we have to stop
That we agree on.
judging people for wearing the cross. So instead, we're just going to look at
Yeah,
them kind of
Kwaku.
askance and just say, like,
I will judge.
As Dave Chappelle said, well, I wouldn't wear that. But no, I'm just kidding. But,
Okay, look,
you know.
I can sum this up, okay?
Sum it up.
I've heard everybody's opinions, and I've decided I'm going to keep wearing it, and it comes down to this. I'm too old to wear a CTR ring, because that's not going to do it for me, and I'm too cool to just wear a huge Christus shirt, okay? So I'm going to wear a cute cross necklace and think of Jesus, and also, I think it can be very personal. We all have our own cross to bear. Heard that phrase? And I think it reminds you that, you know, this took a lot of faith, and faith precedes miracles.
Julius
Well,
Caesar's proud of you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my god.
And I will come visit you in the Celestial Kingdom. You're totally hot enough. It's worth the visit.
Oh my
gosh. Just kidding, babe. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see if I allow you to come.
No. Oh, savage, man. Okay, cool. So that's it. I don't really think this actually got anywhere.
Yeah, we can cross that one off of
Yeah,
our list.
but no.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't think anybody modified their behavior, but at least we all now that know that Kwaku hates us.
and we can
So-
agree, we can all agree we should just get a Jesus fish tattoo, every single one of us.
I'm going to get a cross tattoo.
Hey, you know what we learned? Whether you're
Gordon B.
Mormon,
Hinckley's like, why?
you know, whether you're Mormon, you're Jehovah's Witness, you're Seventh-day Adventist, we all matter. But I mean, just those three. But like, we all matter.
Okay, now I'm going to end this right now, but I did think of one thing. So my wife loves tattoos, and it's her dream that I would be sleeved up. But our bodies are temples. Traditionally, that's not what we do as members of the church, is get tattoos. However, I thought the ultimate height of irony to kind of troll that cultural ism within our faith would be to get a really sick tattoo of like Porter Rockwell, Joseph Smith, a couple of solid scriptures, and have it say like holiness to the Lord, like Patrick says on the temple. So if people's like, your body's a temple, I'd be like, I know, pretty BA, isn't it? And it would say, holiness to the Lord.
Oh
you know
my
what I'm
gosh.
saying? And I would go one step further, and I'd make what Jonathan Browning put on the first rifles produced in Nauvoo.
That was
where it
fantastic.
said, holiness to the Lord, our preservation. And then I keep going saying the standard of truth has been erected. So
And you would
people want-
tattoo that on your
Oh,
guns?
that would be
Carden?
so.
That was what they put on the
BA.
guns.
If somebody said like,
No,
what's
his-
your
his
tattoo?
literal
His guns.
Yeah.
Oh, on my
Yeah.
yeah,
On the
that was good.
guns.
So when somebody says like, well, what are those tattoos? You just like roll it up, and all of a sudden it's like the standard of truth has been erected. No unhallowed hand shall. Like that would be so BA. Then you just need to grab both of your Browning high powers and head out into the apocalypse, guns blazing. I don't know if there's a better
Gums
tat-
blazing? Do you have scurvy, Carden? Like, what's going
Do
on?
I have scurvy?
Not the look I was going for, but
Okay, cool. This is Midnight Mormons. See you guys in the next program.
The girls loved him. I freaking joined the girls in PE saying, play me some Bieber, freaking
I'm not- okay,
eeny,
I'm not
meeny,
talking about
miny,
music.
mo. I
Great.
love
We
all of it.
got a believer over here.
She's indecisive. She can't decide. Worst lyric in all of music.
Wait, you're a Justin Bieber guy?
Oh, big
No,
I'm a
dude.
believer.
Dude.
The song
The worst-
"Eeny Meeny" by Justin Bieber is one of the best songs ever written. I'll stand
The
by it.
worst lyrics in history
Really?
are actually in
Play it.
Friday, and you know this.
Play it.
Card.
What?
I'll play
He's
it.
wrong.
He's wrong?
We're right.
You can't
Well,
tell me.
We're not Bieber.
Well, I'm not anti Justin Bieber, but I'm just saying.
I mean, who likes a beaver?
I agree.
If she holler, let her go. She's indecisive. She can't decide.
Problem is like that's just not my music, man. I'm listening to like country music.
You're a country music guy? Actually, I
Here
mean,
comes the
no,
falsetto.
country is underrated. I get that bit.
Country is like the music soul of this country, Cardin. Go watch the Ken Burns documentary on country music, and it will change your life.
So good.
Is that Sean Kingston?
Yeah, it's Sean Kingston.
I haven't heard Sean Kingston in like a decade.
I love Justin Bieber.
See, but he's listening. The thing is, you listen.
Wait,
to
but
music
what
that
is
you
it?
can,
Is
like,
it just to
dance
get girls, or is
No, his
it?
music's good. Intentions? That's a good song.
And he actually has a good message to like a decent amount.
The
of
song "Holy" by Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
is, like,
Holy
really
is
good.
good.
Yeah, I've gained more. I will admit this. I have gained more respect for Justin Bieber with time.
I don't like his like personality.
I think he's great.
I think
You
he's
hear he has facial paralysis right now.
That's really
yeah.
He does.
I just saw that on
Just
TikTok.
today.
So half
It
his
was-
face is like paralyzed now.
See,
So it's probably
and
easy.
I have to be on his side
serious?
because he's Canadian, and so it's like
Oh my gosh, that's
we're
terrible.
homies now.
Yeah,
He is.
he, like,
He's
can't
also
move
Christian.
his eye,
Ooh,
and, like,
great.
he
Super
can't
Christian
move, like
now.
the whole side of his face.
It just happened today.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm taking a break from performing. And
No, I'm gonna dump. I'm gonna.
Oh,
Yeah,
Scary.
that's sad.
yeah, it's really sad.
And from my understanding, is he kind of like in recent years, sort of like
He's Christian now.
changed himself around, was
Yeah.
trying to like.
And like he and his wife were like going
Although
strong.
I would like to do a
Only
podcast
Folsom
on
Young.
what I call Christian cuckery, and I noticed growing up in the South, everyone's raised Christian. Everyone goes to vacation Bible school and everything, but also the South is super into Greek life. And somehow all these girls and boys raised Christian who know what the commandments are decide to go crazy in college and get super drunk and sleep with a million people. And then as the girls turn 21, somehow they find Jesus again and decide, I don't want to do that as I graduate. Let me go marry a good Christian boy. The timing is really interesting, I've noticed.
Jesus is like 3.88 million.
Can you, Carden? Can you switch to our
No,
camera
we're
real
talking
quick? I want to
about-
make sure that we're all in.
That's a really big issue in the Christian
Don't
South. They never
listen.
talk
Don't
about.
listen too much to Kwaku.
That's true. That's a solid advice, no matter what.
All I'm saying is when shrooms
Carden,
do
can
drugs,
you-
they see me.